Hello, please, and welcome back to Krown's magical, depressing race against the machine cave.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a very dastardly Tuesday over here for the boolahs of this world, and there is a little bit of hope on the other side. I do want to provide a bit of hopium today, but hey, hopium at the end of the day is just fucking that, hopium. One of the big things that my main mentor for trading did teach me very early on was live in hope, die in despair. Of course, you want to be optimistic in life. Of course, you want to believe in hope for the best, but at the same time, in the trading game, it is not that way, my friends. It is certainly not that way, and of course, with all the price action of the last 24 hours, we do have a few new things to be speaking about on the higher term timeframes as things are being resolved. Now, I will mediate that with a bit of hopium on the other side as well. Obviously, it does need to be relatable too, but before we get into that, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest, because why the fuck not, man? It's a nice little Tuesday over here, and regardless of whether you're getting absolutely wrecked or having an amazing Tuesday, well, it's a nice sunny day outside, so enjoy your life, because I fucking hate the sun, and I absolutely hate sweating. Anyways, with that said, let's put the focus now on the Krown application, which we found at app.krown.net. What do we see? We see exactly what we were looking for on Bitcoin dominance on a break of the actual range. Bitcoin dominance shooting the fuck up, as Bitcoin does essentially break on new lows. We do have new closing lows on the daily, that is, and we are taking a leg up out of that 45% region right here. So again, regardless of whether Bitcoin was going to break to the upside or the downside of the greater range, above about $42,000 and below about $31,000, we do see that this is following through with that. So that is the sort of interpretation that you would expect on a macro move, and that does support, the current trend, which is, of course, to the downside. On top of that, we do see fear and greed index also at a 10, which is pretty much the lowest that we have seen in quite some time. And even on May 19th, actually, I don't believe we got into single digits, but we can double check that on the actual chart itself. What's very interesting to me, and to provide the first point of potential hopium here. Now, again, I want to be very clear in stating this. Look, hopium is just fucking hopium. This is obviously counter to everything else that is a lot more tangible going on, but it does deserve to be recognized that open interest actually came down as price action came down yesterday as well. So we are still essentially clearing longs off the books, it was what it looks like. And with that in mind, I would really like to see open interest shoot up on a breakdown of the range in order to be looking for a lot of macro continuation. So how could this potentially look like in a perfect hopium induced world? It perhaps could look like a quick dip into the $20,000 territory, maybe 26, maybe 27, maybe $28,000, and then perhaps a bit of a fake out in that region. Possibility, yes. Probability, low. So I'll just leave it right there. But we'll come up with a few other things as well to kind of support that, or at least things to be looking for on a confirmation of a bit of a trappy situation. But that is not the main disposition right now. It's just a possibility, but low probability in this case. Anyways, as far as top 10 best coins go, oh man, it says oh so much when you see all of the top 10 best are fucking stable coins, and even they are taking a little bit of a red dildo in the early morning. Bitcoin actually one of the actually the least biggest loser. Elsa says, come on, Scott. She's very grumpy today, by the way, so be nice to her. Anyways, top 10 worst coins. Not my doggy coin, down 23.25%. Kusama, Neo, Amp, Bitcoin Gold, Qtum, Filecoin. All right, we're turning off the alerts right quick before I get irate. Filecoin, Waves, Ontology, and Nem all taking double-digit losses, big time on doggy coin especially. And guess what? My single cent targets, my single digit cent targets don't sound too crazy anymore with that move down yesterday at a precipice of about, at a low of about 16 cents thus far. Still kind of oscillating right around the 20 cent region, but it is the full retrace. It is the full fucking retrace. And that is one of the things that I do kind of want to spend a second speaking about here. The reason why I say that is because in this last cycle, if you are looking at this from the market cycle, psychology, cheat sheet, whatever the fuck it is, well, I think doggy coin was pretty much the canary in the coal mine for that. We saw a completely worthless coin. Again, regardless of what your thoughts on the Mimi token is, it is more or less literally worthless, not really used for anything, at least that I'm concerned with, and at scale, more importantly. It also has very little development going on, if any, and it is quite literally a piece of shit and a joke. But that thing got marked up like 20,000 or 30,000%. I'll repeat, that thing got marked up about 20,000 or 30,000%. We can actually double check a little bit later. And this is just a new paradigm. No pullbacks. No, of course, man. All those rallies do fail, and this one will very likely be different. There you go. Anyways, Okay, cool. So looking at it right here, what do we see as far as the market dynamics go? Okay, I do notice that on the funny rate, we are printing a bit of negative rates for Deribit, for FTX, OKX, and Huobi. This is to be expected on a break of the downside of the range. This isn't necessarily like another point for a potential trappy situation. No, I wouldn't say that just yet, but it is, you would expect to see something like this on a break of like a macro range in that direction, in this case to the downside. And these are not like super exorbitant negative rates as well. I mean, FTX just not negative 0.01, negative 0.06 for Deribit. OKX is a little bit out there at negative 0.03, but still not too crazy. And Huobi negative 0.15. So you are getting paid to hodl longs in those, on those exchanges for the time being, or at least for this period. But realistically, I would not say that is, if that was happening within the context of what we saw on yesterday's bottom side kind of range before Bitcoin actually broke, that would have been, perhaps a little bit confidence inducing for maybe another bounce, probably a failed bounce. But ultimately, on an actual breaking continuation of trend, that is not going to operate in the same way as we did look at it with when Bitcoin was within a range. So of course, these things are always context dependent. And, at the end of the day, all these market data, and underlying market dynamics over here, while they are important and while I do think that they deserve some merit, they're certainly not the primary means of my analysis, of course, and they're kind of more like secondary, tertiary things to kind of keep up on and support actual price action. But at the end of the day, I do not put primary focus on them, so I want to be very deliberately clear with that. Okay, another thing over here in the put call market, we can go check out options, of which we have a humongous expiration happening at the end of this week right here. To put it into a graphical format, you can see that June 25th expiration is just overshooting anything else on the board by several factors. The only thing that even comes, it's not even close, but the only thing that's kind of building up right now is actually the yearlies at December 31st and the SEPs right here as well, which are, pretty big expirations, obviously. And we can check those out a little bit later. But in this week, and specifically like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're going to very likely start to see these positions being rolled out. So I would keep a keen eye on what's going on over here, because that posturing will very likely have interplays for the end of year. Anyways, it should be denoted there actually is some very interesting things right here. Another one that could be supportive of a little bit of a trappy situation would be the fact that the $36,000 put strike is being absolutely played to the fucking moon and beyond. So this does kind of come in line with what I spoke about yesterday. And I'll reiterate what I spoke about yesterday in kind of like a fun way. And we can spoil the surprise today as well. It's not anything too crazy. Actually, people are going crazy over this, and realistically, it's like nowhere near as in-depth as what I think a lot of people thought it was. But yesterday I said, look, or I didn't say look. Jesus fucking Christ, now I'm starting to sound like Biden, which is great. Look, here's the deal. Here's the fucking deal. Bitcoin's a bunch of bullshit, all right? Not used for nothing. Fucking lazy ass Bitcoin. I'm banning it. Banned. Bitcoin fucking banned. Anyways... That does not sound like Biden at all, by the way. Be more like the Bitcoin, the thing, and the thing. It's like what the fuck. Yeah, that's a little more accurate. Anyways, I don't love or hate him. Anyways, my point is that the $36,000 put strike is getting played up quite a fair bit. You could put that in a very tertiary potential trappy situation. Again, these are very, 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 very loosely based ideas right now. The $26,000 strike is the one that kind of speaks up to me right around here, which does imply that. So we probably don't break that on Friday's closure. And I would be looking at that as a bit of, at the very least, a medium-term pivot, assuming that Bitcoin does get down around there. Anyways, going back to what I was just speaking about yesterday, I said something at the beginning of the stream that was to the tune of this. We'll play a little bit of a game, essentially. And I will give you a prediction, like a straight-up fucking prediction, which I almost never do. And that prediction is that on Thursday, the 24th, and maybe even the 25th, we will very likely see a major, massive price action. Now, this can be both a reversal or a continuation, obviously in this case to the downside. Typically speaking, you do get a reversal on this. And what was that actually going off of? Well, there's several factors of economic data going on. I mean, I think a lot of people have kind of found out that a lot of big things going on in traditional markets as far as fundamentally speaking goes. But what I was referencing was the quarterly expirations. The quarterly expirations is what majorly drives price action on the macro scale in a lot of cases. You will notice that on all quarterly expirations, and so that's going to be, your January's, your end of March, early April, that's going to be your end of June, early July, and then what's the one after that? I think September, October, and then of course, repeat. a lot of the time you do see macro reversals around those places, or just big pieces of price action kind of situated around those pieces. And there is a reason for that, because big money managers, big asset and fund managers are going to be rebalancing their portfolios around those times. So that is typically why you do see that, not necessarily because of the moons or anything like that, although it does happen to match up with that, which is also kind of eerie and weird. But what comes first, tomato or tomato? I don't fucking know. Anyways, into the actual price action charts we go right here, and just keep an eye out for that, coming into Thursday or Friday, because a lot of the time you will see that. And we can actually even go over it for a second here too. Let's just peruse around what's happened on the last few quarterly closes. Well, when was our last quarterly close? That would be end of March, early April. Well, guess what early April was? Literally the fucking top. That's rather interesting now, isn't it? Now, what about the quarter before that? That would be end of December, early January. Where was that? That was right fucking here. Right fucking here on basically the first corrective move outside of the major massive macro breakout. Rather interesting, right? I mean, that was literally right fucking here, right? And then before that, what was it, like to September, October? Well, where was September, October? Right here on the fucking lows before macro expansion. Where was the one before that? Well, that would be June of the past year. And where was that exactly? That would be right here. This one actually doesn't work out as well, but you can still see that it is a macro pivot, to be fair. So does that work? I actually happen to think so, yes. What about the one before that? Well, here's your March. I think that one speaks for itself. And what about the one before that? January, December, right here on this pivot. I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself. So you're free to backtest this as well, of course, but I would say that, if we are going to see some resembling a fake out here, again, this is not my main disposition. I go with trend until proven otherwise in this case, but if you are going to see some potential major fake out, what you'd expect to see going on is the same thing that we spoke about yesterday. I want to see the 5-day dildo close back above about 34.5 to 35,000 bucks. If that happens, I do think that there is a bit of hopium left for the Bulas in the more immediate future for at least sideways action, and then potentially, potentially like a good end of 2021. Now, again, I want to be very deliberately clear. As a technical analyst, as a trader, more importantly, do I think that that's going to happen? I think it's less likely. I mean, what we had happen yesterday is significant. Bitcoin closing on new lows. Not only are we closing on new lows, but we do see volatility actually expanding over here, as you can see, even on the daily and especially on the 12-hour, both relatively powerful time frames. And it's really not until we get back up into I want to see get back up to like 75-80 percentile on the daily specifically before I potentially look for another major low perhaps. Now, of course, we also did we already mentioned this. We closed below the bottom side trend band, so I do look at this as trend in motion on new lows, more importantly, and daily MACD is crossing down at the same time after essentially not even getting back to the zero read right here. But you can look at this as essentially a bearish reset. So it is pressure onto the downside right now, and it is more likely to go down here as far as I'm concerned. We did hit our $31,000 target from yesterday, which was based off the 5-day Cyan 89 exponential average, and thus far bouncing off of it. In fact, I think that we could bounce a little bit more on the short-term timeframes. We are building up all kinds of, or are we building up divergences? Actually, no, we're not. Just kidding. Bounces canceled. All bounces are fucking banned. Bitcoin playing back up to like 34.5 is certainly not out of the question. The problem is that as long as you are operating on, these lower highs and lower lows, you do have a downtrend on pretty much every time frame that matters at this point, up to a weekly. Technically speaking, the weekly is not there just yet, but it's for the next one to follow through, essentially. Especially if Bitcoin, I mean, it's like, where do you even make an excuse for this one right now? You don't. you don't, is what it comes down to. But if we go over here to the 12-hour, do we have any divergences possible here? No, we do not. So fair enough. This is typically speaking, if you are looking at this from a trending and Bollinger Band perspective, this is typically your first sort of pullback after a macro breakout, which in this case, I think it's a little bit easier to see if you do the old trick right here. It's like, are you bullish or bearish on this? You got an inverted Quasimodo, and you just broke out to the upside. I mean, you're probably very bullish on this, right? And typically speaking, the first pullback is a bit of profit taking, and typically speaking, that is going to be your next continuation drive. So we'd expect to see continuation, maybe not today, but probably tomorrow on Wednesday if this is going to play out. I'd really want to see open interest come up as well. I want to see it go up, by billions, by quite literally billions. If we literally are going to play out, a more prolonged downside bear market. Until that happens, I do keep a little bit in the back of my mind, perhaps a bit of hopium. Maybe we get a quick stab down to 25 or 26,000 bucks, maybe a trap there, and perhaps perhaps that is relevant. I mean, we actually have had a very similar situation to this in the past, which I'll show you right here, right now. Let me just get rid of everything that is not relevant to what I'm about to speak on. Let's get rid of that one. Okay, we need that. Yeah, I think we can just run with this right here. Actually, we can even get rid of the 21 exponential moving average as well. Let's just get rid of that one for what it's worth. All right, so keep in mind where all these major moving averages are, and specific attention to the green 55, the purple 200. These are exponential moving averages. They are very, very powerful, and if they do cross the downside, that is what I consider like a legitimate death cross. I don't really consider the simple moving average as a good death cross. I mean, you can just backtest the results for that over history, and it's typically not very good. Anyways, or I'll let you make that decision for yourself. But I would assume that most people are going to say that's not very good. I mean, it works out like 50. It works out like half the fucking time, which is okay. Anyways, also keep in mind where the blue 377 exponential moving average is right here as well, and keep in mind that it is essentially a range between the purple 200 and the blue 377. And in fact, but yeah, we can leave that there. The white 200, the white is a 200 simple, by the way. I'll leave it there just so that we can reference this over here. Anyways, very similar situation back on over here in 2019. Not saying this has to operate the exact same, but I do think that it is relevant to be going over. And what do we see? We see a 3-month-long consolidation from June all the way to September. I guess that's like July, August, September. Yeah, about 3 months, a little bit over 3 months. Bitcoin breaks down. We got to move down to the 377, consolidating between there and the 200 exponential average for about a month, actually literally about a month right here from end of September to end of October, actually almost on the dot. Bitcoin initially breaks down below the 377, and we get one of those fucking China news pumps. And this market is kind of news driven right now, or at least it's very reactive to the old China going on, because that is, that does make a difference. I mean, China pretty much does have, or I guess had, the majority of the mining hash rates, and I guess that won't be a thing any longer. In fact, it seems like the US actually might pick up where China left off, which is actually pretty damn cool to see, man. I'm proud to say, or I don't know if I'm proud to say, but it's good to see, and perhaps we could say that it's very confidence inducing that the US is going to, maybe be more welcoming to this very interesting technology than a very authoritarian and reprehensible regime like China. Yes, I just said that, YouTube. China's fucking reprehensible. If they genocide people, that's bad. You can't fucking defend that. So fuck you. Anyways, looking at this right here, yeah, that's going to go by the wayside real fucking fast. So you can see that the green 55 and the purple 200 were being drawn very, very close to each other, hinting at that exponential moving average death cross. They did not happen, and at the last second on this break below the 377, it did pump up into that cross, even bounced up above the 200 simple, and then eventually failed after that into new lows, right? So is that possible? I guess it's possible, yes, especially with this very low volume kind of paying at the lows thus far. Is it probable? I wouldn't say that much, but it is a possibility right now, and I'd say that's mostly based off of the underlying market dynamics that we see going off of, and kind of some of the history here as well. So I would say it's possible. Again, keep in mind, as a trader, I play this to the downside. I have no reason to not be bearish on this, as we've essentially been bearish on this ever since about $38,000 failed right here. That was the big one for us on this channel, as that was kind of your last bull hopium for an immediate continuation into the deeper $40,000 territory, which I thought was definitely possible around that region. That was that idea went by the wayside right here, and it's just been a downtrend ever since on all time frames that realistically matter. Anyways, okay, so while we're here, let me put back on all these major moving averages. Let's talk about targets to the downside, or areas of interest to the downside, as we do prepare for perhaps the next markdown within this redistributed pattern right here. In fact, let's go to my CME chart, because this one actually does get things a little bit better. I think it's more accurate, and I think it's more obvious as well. Anyways, I'll put back on my drawing tools right here, and let's see what we got. Okay, so we had a very obvious trading range, right? Between about 31, or I guess on this case, on a closing base, about $33,000. On spot price, actually more like $32,000 versus about $41,000 the upside. And for that, we can take a bit of a measured move off of this. We can take a more aggressive one and a more conservative one. I'll take a more conservative one first. I think that's rather interesting right there. And we'll take a more aggressive one right now as well. And let's see if that matches up with anything of particular interest. In fact, it does. That's rather interesting, as it does line up exactly with the gap coming in from late December of the year 2020. Interesting. And also one of the major fibs right here as well, the 2.272. Anyways, I do think that Bitcoin very likely have, bounces along the way, as it typically does. I mean, we're seeing the kind of like the first bounce at the 1414. And typically speaking, when I do see a breakout, I want to see the breakout play between the 1414 almost initially. That's typically going to be the first target. And then that plays short term between that and the 272 right here. And I believe that's what we're doing right now. And as long as we're kind of stuck within this region, I do essentially look at that as a continuation phase, essentially. Anyways, Anyways, based off this, we would have targets down, technically speaking, to about 28,500-ish region, basically the lows of late January, and kind of this breakout right here as well. So a lot of wicks accumulated within that region. And then, of course, next area after that, well, I would be looking for a move somewhere down around, let's just call it $25,000, give or take about $500. I do think it could be as much as like 24.5 or as much as $26,000, anywhere around there. Who knows where the fuck a stray wick ends up in this extremely highly leveraged market, but anywhere around there would be good enough for me to at the very least be looking for a major bounce, perhaps a macro bounce. But let's go over something really, really quickly here. I will not be calling anything resembling a macro low. There is no talks of a macro low until we get basically the same things that I've been speaking about for the past month and a half now, where we want to see, first and foremost, hash ribbons print a blue buy signal. Do we have that even possible right here? No, we're still in the recovery phase. It's quite literally impossible at its current stature. It cannot happen. And it's actually widening the gap as China has their own mining difficulties, right? But if we get something like that, then the topic of a macro low is a potential. It's a potential that I want to see then confirmed by the daily, which the daily's right here, which is certainly not in an uptrend, putting in at the very least a higher low and preferably a higher high. If we can get both of those, that'll look pretty damn good. Probably even enough for myself. And I want to see BBWP get back on the floor. And right now we're actually trending to the upside on BBWP. So volatility is expanding as we do essentially see trend continuation to the downside. Yes, I do lean towards more downside, generally speaking, as a trader, as an analyst, which analysts are traditionally just fucking bullshit, because you don't really have skin in the game as an analyst. But as an analyst, I do think that it's possible we get traps somewhere around maybe 28, or if that one does not happen, somewhere around like 25 or 25.5 region. Anywhere around there would kind of make sense. But for right now, as long as this is going on, the trend is, well, your friend, and the trend in this case is to the downside. And right now we are getting rejected thus far by the blue 377 exponential average. So I would keep a keen eye on that. And if we do get the death cross out of this, I do not think that there's going to be any trap like at all. It's just going to be a straight fucking shot down. And we can even go lower than that over time. But I would be cognizant of those areas first and foremost. And then potentially we could talk about $19,000 if 25 fails. But for right now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. There's a lot of things going on in the short-term timeframes which are rather interesting, and we can kind of come up with this right here. Oh, what's this? Another hourly lower high. That's fucking crazy. Looks very similar to what we had over here. Nice little sideways consolidation, drop down, pop back up, lower high, boom, drop back down, consolidation, drop down, pop back up, lower high, and down again. Looks like shit, man. Looks like shit, smells like shit, even as hidden bearish divergence right there. So yeah, it's more likely that we continue the downside today. Yes, I do think so. If we look at momentum oscillators over here, let's see what we got. Nope, that's the moons. Hey, let's go check out the moons right now, actually. Funnily enough, okay, look. I don't want to believe that this shit is true. I don't want to, but I just think that this is funny. And here's a good question that I have to ask myself. Okay, would I be more successful if I literally just traded the goddamn moon cycles or not? And to be fair, once again, the fucking moons, that goddamn witch Marin, that's called the top right there. I mean, how do you explain that? In the time fibs too, right? We took a time fib, and I got to give credit to Mr. Paranoid for pointing this one out. From here, the macro breakout in October 2020 to our first major sort of precipice in February, and it got this area right here, nice pivot, this area right here, nice top, and this one about 1 or 2 bars off, but in hindsight, a bit of a toppy top right there as well. So take it as you will. And I do think that it's very unlikely that we get anything resembling a reversal until potentially Thursday, maybe Friday. That would be where I'd be thinking, just based off of the quarterly closes and everything like that. So with all of that in mind, it's time to be bullish as fuck, right? No, as a trader, have to play the trend. And again, we can pop up all the way to 34,500-ish region and still be just operating on lower highs on a 4-hour. Obviously, the hourly trend would reverse at that point, but is the hourly trend going to reverse the whole macro structure, or do we look for like at least a goddamn medium-term time frame? Yeah, I would say that, because you do want to err on the side of caution during these times. Anyways, go check out momentum oscillators over here on the short-term timeframes. By the way, just like a short little aside right here, there is something, there's just like a weird random cheat code in Bitcoin land specifically. This does not hold true in the same way for traditional markets or Forex. I mean, technically speaking, it's just a lower time frame, but in Bitcoin, when you do see a macro trending move, the hourly momentum oscillators especially, and the hourly trend are gonna get things right more than 80% of the time from my testing here. And the hourly Stokes specifically like do seem to hold quite a fair bit of weight in my experience. And these ones are crawling all the way up here, essentially performing a bit of a bearish reset as Bitcoin just puts in, another lower high on the hourly as well. So that is a bit more concerning. I want to see where the buy hourly Stokes are right here. They are popping up right now, and they will remain to the upside as long as above 31.8. So fair enough. That would be a little bit more on the short-term Boolah side. 32,350 for the 4 hour, or sorry, for the 3 hour, and the 4 hour is showing a momentum up as long as we're above 32,000 bucks. So could we have a bit of a bounce here? Maybe bounce up to 34,500. Yeah, I do think so. But that doesn't change anything for the higher term timeframes. Realistically, the higher term timeframes do not. I do not have anything different to say about the higher term timeframes. Now, as long as we're below the 377 in this case, I do put a lot of weight on this one for macro moves. This is essentially like a yearly yearly moving average that is also, well, an exponential, so it's rather powerful. And also, it's a major fib as well. So with that in mind, I do play, macro down as long as we're below that, actually. And in this case, we're getting our first closure below there since coronavirus sometimes, actually. So that is rather significant, actually incredibly significant. So let's go check out traditional markets. This is what really kind of throws me for a loop right here. We said yesterday, NASDAQ is just in the midst of kind of putting in a higher low. And what do you fucking know? I mean, it just put in another higher low, and the weekly looks like we're going to be making new all-time highs this week. This looks really fucking good. I don't have any bad things to say about this. Even SPY actually put in, SPY was the one that put in a bit of a higher low right here. I do still think that this one's a bit more under pressure, can pop back up a little bit more. We did say that yesterday could pop up all the way to 42 and some odd change. We got that. Now comes the real test. Does it peter out right here and fall on over, or do we continue on to new all-time highs? Obviously, there's going to be nothing bearish about this if we do trade over 42,005, or sorry, not 42,000, but 4250-ish region. And on the weekly, I mean, do we still have a chance to come down to the 21? I do think so. I actually do think so on this one. So I would be a little bit more reserved on this one. Dow Jones, kind of same thing. Definitely a lot more weaker. So this one is getting rotated to the downside with with pretty much the whole industrial sector. Anyways, let's go check out Dixie as well. I think this one's rather interesting here. So we are getting our first pullback from that 92 and a quarter target that we had coming in at the end of last week. I do still think that this one very likely has one more try to the upside. Anywhere around 92.70 to 92.80-ish region, right around here is fair game. My question is, or it's not the question, but the main focus here is do we see anything resembling a rejection within this region? If we do, that would be a damn good sign that we continue on with the macro downtrend. And well, this would be very much your friend if you want to be trading anything versus the US dollar, which includes, pretty much all assets in the world and of course, Bitcoin as well. Looking at the monthly right here too, I would go as far as saying that if we do close anywhere below about 91 and a half, I would say that this is certainly more on the bearish side as well. But for right now, technically speaking, we do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence come off the lows, a little bit of phantom div in there, but that technically would have a target. Well, I mean, we already had the target up to, that's what was giving us our 92 and some odd change target from the end of last week. But now this could be extended all the way to 93.5, which actually would give us a higher high. So if that happens, if we do pop back above this sort of swing high right here, then this is no longer macro bearish. This is a macro or I don't know if it's macro bullish, but it's still consolidating essentially in a macro range. And we would be looking for price action back up north of 95 actually, and maybe even more. And that's going to put a lot of downside pressure on anything that trades against the dollar, obviously. Bitcoin included. So this monthly close and by extension quarterly and by yearly close are going to be absolutely, massive. So keep an eye on that because this is probably going to play into the Bitcoin analysis more than Bitcoin's own analysis plays into itself. Funnily enough, I mean, obviously you want to trade the asset in front of you, but I do think that this does have major implications with it. And with that in mind, is it time to get on to some chats, on to some comments? How deep into the stream are we? We're already 30 minutes into the stream. Holy fuck, man. What the actual fuck? Oh, there we go. Okay, we got 21 minutes and 43 seconds left to go in order to confirm that hidden bearish divergence. If that happens, I'd be having a target back down below 32,000 bucks, somewhere around about 31.8, 31.6. Conservatively speaking. And well, you do kind of have to go with the trend here too. I'm just curious, am I missing something on the 12 hour? 12 hour looks like shit. Daily looks like shit. 2-day looks like shit. 3-day looks like shit. 5-day looks like shit. All right, so again, I do want to say there's a little bit of hopium in there. There is, a small modicum of hopium there. But I'll overlay those things very, very clearly. And of course, if you're just looking at like the daily right here, there's no talks of this being a potential trap as long as we're operating below the 377. And you could even go as far as saying that, hey, we could even use like a hard stop at about 35.5. This last breakdown from yesterday, actually, which is just slightly above there, but just getting back around there would be better for a bit of a trap situation. Until that happens, the trend is your friend, and the trend is to the downside. And take that as you will, sirs and sirs. Let's get on to the comments over here. It looks like Elsa's already got them locked and loaded. We have our lovely moderators in here already. What's up, Philson? I see you. What's up, BK, Brian Davis, RK? Fuck yeah. It's all the crew is here right now. It is a busy day, it looks like. All right, we got Scott Carney. Oh, there. By the way, Scott Carney. Scott, I saw your Bitfarms, man. Your Bitfarms is no longer an OTC piece of shit. It's a real. It's on NASDAQ now. That's really awesome, man. That's very impressive, and so it looks like it's probably doing all right. I mean, it only has like a day of history right now, but hey, pretty damn cool. Anyways, SNDL, I have July 16, 150 calls. Am I jumping off a bridge? Also 4-hour bullish divergence. Okay, what's going on here? SNDL, what the fuck is this thing? Sundial growers. This must be some sort of like a weed grower. Okay, so your question is, I have July 16th, so you're expiring in like 3 weeks right now. You got 150 calls, but what strike? Oh, 150. Okay, so you bought it when? Yeah, you are jumping off a bridge. Look, man, I've been telling you for the last week. I don't want to sound like I'm your fucking dad or anything, but this one is caught within a range right now. Long term, it is good, but you're operating 3 weeks out. I would not feel comfortable saying that this one is destined to go back up, even to your 150. Yeah, your 150, even back up to your strike price. And realistically, once you get into next week, when you have about 2 weeks left, your premium is going to decay like crazy, and you're going to have a major race against time. So I don't know how much you paid for those calls, but you have to be thinking now if you're going to hold them all the way to expiration, which I would maybe push back on a bit. But if you're going to hold them all the way to expiration, well, you're going to have to make back, the premium plus a strike, and within that time frame. And that's, next move, I still think is to the downside, man. I would still be looking for a move down around here first, at around 80 cents or so. And let's see, where do I actually have this? Oh, I guess I didn't chart this one out, but yeah, anywhere down around here first, and then perhaps gives another try to the upside. 150 is like literally your actual breakout. So you are essentially anticipating a breakout within the next 3 weeks. So you have to think of, you have to think of it like that. And that's why I really do not like buying premium. You're basically just, instead of having theta pay you, you pay theta, and you do typically lose. Actually, a good statistic to be aware of is that I think 80% of options expire worthless. So if you are trading options and you're not doing anything with the underlying with the underlying, you're not buying or selling stock against it, or especially if you're not, playing other option strategies against it, you're just basically playing the fucking lottery. And while sometimes, yes, you will hit, and you'll read about people on fucking Robinhood who hit big on AMC and GME, of which GME finally topping out, I do think. Those are very few and far between, and those certainly are the outliers. And this thing, unless you're aware of like some sort of insider information, which perhaps you are. I mean, you did get Bitfarms as it goes IPO, so hey, not bad. But this thing, in its current stature, no, I'd be looking for sideways probably for the next month or so. And then maybe like later this year, it gives another try to the upside if it wants to. But this one's going to take some time. I don't think it's ready just yet, man. I think it's rather immature within that consolidation, all things considered, especially if you bought like the fucking breakout at the top at 150 strike. I love you. Also, the community loves you. Hey, that's awesome, man. She loves you too, sir. Hey, what the fuck? You loved Scott? You bastard! Stupid fucking kitty ears back there. Hey, what's up, Larry BC? Welcome to the cave, man. I appreciate that. By the way, I want to say a massive thank you. Hold on, I need to pull this up over here. This is cool as shit, man. This is actually cool as shit. I was not expecting this at all, and I just want to say a humongous thank you, because I made a video on Sunday. Yeah, for the Sunday long-term analysis. It was right here. Let me just pull it up right here. I made a video on Sunday for long-term analysis, and it was like the one time where I said, hey, please, if I could just ask this one time, if you could actually and perhaps share the video if you do find it useful. Obviously don't feel compelled to do anything that you're not that you don't want to do. It'd be really helpful. And this is like the most likes I've ever gotten a video by a factor of 2 or 3. So I want to say a massive thank you for that. It always feels kind of weird asking for a bit of help in that direction. It always feels like a little bit strange, but I want to say a humongous and heartfelt thank you, because that was really great right there. And and I put a lot of effort into that video. So I'm really happy that it was received in the way that it was. So again, major thank you, and that's just fucking awesome, man. So I'm lost for words, sirs and sirs. All right, let's see. We got Bots for the Win says, hi, Master Krown. What's up, man? Just regular Krown today. No master, sir. I do not own any slaves, nor do I want to. How would your long-term view... You do me. That's right, but you don't count because you're a woman. Anyways, how would you... Sorry. Terrible joke to be making on the interwebs. Funnily enough, man, I find that some of my humor does definitely go by the wayside with some people. I get some very interesting messages sometimes, like, Krown, don't you think you're being a little bit toxic? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making bad jokes. Is that possible too? All right, Bots for the Win says, hi, hey, Krown. How would your long-term view on Bitcoin change from an investor perspective? Well, I'm not an investor, so I don't know what to tell you. But the question is, if we close below the 200-week EMA, MA, okay, so let's go first see where that is. And let's go talk about let's go kind of zero in on what you're talking about to begin with. All right, so purple is a 200 exponential average. The white is the 200 simple moon average. So basically your question is, how would your opinion on Bitcoin change as an investor if we broke the 200 simple? Now, if you're not familiar with the 200 simple, it's kind of like a classic major asset, major money fund manager kind of just interplay that people typically pay attention to. And what they're typically doing with it and the way that they look at it, and we're talking about like very long-term investors. We're not talking about like fucking crypto investors who, invest for like a couple weeks or a couple months. That's not the same thing. We're talking about people who are investing like 5-10 years out. They will use the 200 simple, typically speaking, as like a long-term macro, like macro kind of bias for, do we play this to the upside or the downside? When price action is above the 200 simple, for long periods of time in an uptrend, you typically look for positions to buy long term. So, those are the big money managers who are buying alongside these major areas on the way up. And then if Bitcoin were to break to the downside long term, and especially if it got a negative slope, that would be where they essentially look to kind of distribute a little bit more or get rid of their positions and kind of turn on their sell algos. Now, of course, it goes a little bit more than that. And when you are dealing with like a big money manager, they're going to be using all different sorts of different metrics and whatnot, and technicals and fundamentals. They're going to be a little more on the fundamental side, obviously, but that would be one of the actionable things that is very, very common amongst many big money managers. This is not the same thing as like a quant firm. This is not the same thing as a market making firm. This is not the same thing as like a liquidity provider. So don't get those confused. But if you are like a long-term investor, traditionally speaking, that is kind of how you look at it. So if you're looking at Bitcoin right here, you can see that over the long period of time, going back to the genesis, we've never broken the 200 simple. In fact, we've always found macro lows at it, from 2015, 2016, 2018, 2019, right here, again in 2020. And, Bitcoin were to come down to like $13,000, I would expect at the very least a nice bounce first, But hey, if Bitcoin starts closing below it, fair enough. Fair enough. That would probably be the end of the end for myself. With my interest in this asset, I'd probably move on to something else, probably Forex. I would no longer feel comfortable holding like my long-term hodls, anyways, which I pretty much never touched. So fair enough. All right. Hopefully that was useful for that answer. Sam Fregnosi says, that's it. I'm trading the moon phases now. I mean, it's something to consider, honestly. Look, I don't want to believe that this shit is true, but when you have a hit rate like this, it's like, who's the fucking idiot? Me for just emotionally saying, no, that can't fucking work. Or the person who's saying that it is work. I mean, statistically speaking, like you have 1, 2. Okay, this one didn't work right here. This one kind of worked. This one worked. This one worked. Kind of worked. Worked. Kind of. I wouldn't necessarily say that. So we got 2 that didn't work, and then everything else works thus far. I mean, this one maybe a little bit less so, but it did get a pretty damn good bounce, to be fair. So maybe say you have 2 or 3 out of 17, I believe, are on the board right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, actually 19. So 2 or 3 out of those 19 iterations did not work out that well. I mean, it's a pretty good hit rate, to be fair. Pretty fucking good, man. So I don't know, man. That sort of stuff I always want to push back on, but the data is as the data is, right? And it's like, you can just imagine like some people out there get so fucking frustrated about this, about that. And I don't want to be that person because I mean, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And it's like, okay, you can hate it or you can just look at it for for their past results. And that's, that's the way. I mean, I guess that's the way that I probably should be looking at it, and I should leave my preconceived notions about it at the door. So fair enough. Jeffrey Gillespie says, "Thank you, Krown, for the massive knowledge. Appreciate that, man. Very much appreciate that. Thank you for the positive message, man. Much love, sir." Sam says, "Reverse stoke cross versus CT RSI CT reversed TSI. What are you saying?" What do you mean, like verse? Like are you saying like what indicator do I like more, or like do they need to go battle? I don't know what the fuck you mean by that, sir. I don't know what you're asking. They're used for different things, man. TSI is going to be better for more like trending, long-term moves. Stokes are going to be better for more like ranging and short-term moves, generally speaking. I think that's maybe what you're asking, but maybe you're like looking for a celebrity death match with indicators, which you can't compare apples to fucking oranges, right? What's up, you love pizzas? Captain Krown. Well, at least not master. Bitcoin breaks below 30,000. Can doggy get wrecked down to 10 cent area? I think it's going to go below 10 cent, man. Let's go look at it on a more long-term chart right here, and then I'll read the rest of your message because I just kind of cut you off. But where is it? There we go. Okay, let's see. So your question is, if Bitcoin breaks below 30,000, can doggy get wrecked below down to 10 cent area and bounce back from there on the daily to 25 cent, 35 cent area? I mean, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. Is it going to depend on whatever Bitcoin does? Absolutely. As far as I'm concerned on doggy, this thing is in the death throes right now. This is your big breakdown right here. And while you're going to see some bounce along the way, you're probably getting another bounce. I mean, basically around just below yesterday's low, somewhere around like 15 and a half cents. Ultimately, if Bitcoin breaks below 30,000 bucks, you can expect lower prices than what we've seen thus far. And the next major area that'll be, I mean, there's no real such thing as support on doggy coin. Like support is a fucking support is a lie. There is only tiers. And in this case right here, I mean, you probably see some bigger bounces around 6 or 7 cent region, but it's all fucking air here, man. The way that you go up is the way that you come down, and this thing just shot to the fucking moon, and it will absolutely plummet to the fucking ground as well. And look, I don't say this with a smile on my face. Like, I understand that people are going to be getting absolutely massacred within this who just don't know any better, but at least revere this for what it is, which is perhaps a good learning experience for a lot of people out there who bought into a hype like this without doing any real research. And it's like, what's a real chart? This is your real chart. Look, over the long period of time, all rallies fail on this thing. It's always been the same, and it will always be the fucking same until something fundamentally changes about this basically joke token. I mean, look, I like the fucking Shiba Mimi as well. I think it's cute, man. It's a cute little dog. They're funny as fuck, man. You ever seen one in real life? They do all sorts of crazy shit. If you want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole, search up like Shibi's funniest moments or some shit like that. They're hilarious. But as far as like actual trading goes, when finances are involved, I mean, this is your history right here. This is garbage. This is fucking hard garbage. I mean, there's no excuse for this thing at all whatsoever. And to look at this as anything relevant to a reasonable person is just ridiculous. We even have a bit of a head and shoulders here, actually, it looks like. Although I'm sure that we've already kind of hit the measure move on that one. But look, all these rallies fail and they all come down, I mean, realistically, like 90%. So you start off with your main one over here, down 95.25%. Now that's nice. What about this one right here? Down 85%. What about this one right here? Down 93.5%. And then this one's just been the same sort of cycle all the way up. So there is one, I guess, highlighting thing to say about this, or one kind of good thing to say about this. It hasn't broken its macro lows ever. That's somewhat good. But the problem with that is that you cannot break, you can come all the way back down without breaking your prior macro lows and literally come below 1/2 of a cent all the way down to about 0.3 of a cent or 0.4 of a cent. Does that happen? Probably. At the very least, I do think it comes down below at the very least 10 cents. I think we're pretty much already there. We got down to like 16.5 cents yesterday. This thing, once it zooms past 6 cents, then I'd be looking for this one to go into like the 1 cent territory. You're gonna see people in absolute fucking tears, I imagine, just because a lot of it's no secret that a lot of people made a shit ton of money during this. But Mia Khalifa's right here, and I suspect that if she has not already taken profit, might find out what it's like to get real dogged over here. I'll put it that way. All right, Damien Cruchaga says, Krown, did you know that lunatic comes from the word luna, which means moon? I thought it was Philcone's dog. In Spanish, it was first coined by the Romans to describe neurotic behavior they observed in people whenever there was a full moon. Man, that just makes my fucking conspiracy theory mind go crazy. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat right now, but Yeah, it makes sense, man. I mean, look, these ancient people, I don't look at them as fucking stupid. I look at them as like incredibly smart, actually, because they knew how to survive in a world that we probably could not. Very few of us right now could probably survive in those worlds. So I don't know, man. You know, they probably knew something that we didn't, and that's actually pretty damn interesting. Lunatic, fucking lunatic. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that does make sense. I mean, apparently for crime statistics, there's more crime that goes on around those like full moon times. Don't quote me on that one. I don't know the specifics of it. Again, I'm not fucking arguing for it. I'm just looking at the statistics of it and presenting it as it is. Make your own decisions, based upon that. I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to give me grief for that either which way that I go on that. But look, I'm just presenting it as it is, man. And you can make the decision for yourself. All right, Miguel says, hello, sir. Nice smiley face. CAUT USDT on daily, please. Also, how would you do if trading but not holding crypto was banned like it is here in Hong Kong? Okay, so the question is, what would I do if trading was banned but you could still hold? Well, I am in some ways retired, so I don't really need to like work for money anymore if I don't want to. And I don't say this as like a yes, I meant that I'm retarded as well in the scientific sense. I'm held back. This looks like a shitcoin chart. What would I do? I mean, I'd probably continue doing these videos. I really like doing this. I'd probably I'd probably try to get like a gaming channel going on because I enjoy doing a lot of that. I want to write a book, so I'd probably start to do that at some point too. So I'd stop putting that one off, and yeah, I'd still look, and I'd still probably hold. But if I can't trade, I can't trade, right? Just go. If I wanted to trade, I'd just go trade Forex. I mean, Forex is going to be more interesting to trade anyways, in my opinion. Then you could just accumulate Bitcoin if you really want to. I think that would be the best case scenario. But if you're asking about what I'd specifically do, that's what I'd do. But within the context of trading, it's actually pretty damn simple. I'll just go to Forex. All right, so what do we have right here? We have a shitcoin chart, sir. We have a shitcoin chart indeed. Breaking down below the 377, massive close below there. Jesus. I played this one. There is nothing bullish about this thing. Again, same thing as Bitcoin, as long as below the 377. You could just look at this prior breakdown from yesterday as well. Just 18 spot 37. So if you do get some sort of a trappy situation, that would be my identification of it. I think it's a little bit less likely, to be honest with you, but for right now, is it a possibility? Yes, mostly based off of what Bitcoin's doing, but for the current structure, let's see, what time frame did you ask about? Yeah, you asked about a daily. For the current structure, next downside move on Bitcoin, I'd be looking for this one to come down to like 8 cents or so. Somewhere down around here is where I'd be looking towards. Anywhere in this region would be the next sort of major bouncy territory between about 8 and 6 cent. And I'd mostly look for Bitcoin on direction here and on follow through. So I imagine that if Bitcoin came down to, let's say, like $28,000, you'd probably find it somewhere down around about 8 cents. And if Bitcoin came down to like $26,000, you'd probably see it somewhere around 6 cents or so. And I'd be looking for bounce around there. But here's your real chart, right? Here's your monthly, and that just is actually more bouncy there, to be fair. It actually is more bouncy there, to be fair, on the 21, but you already did kind of get a nice bounce. So are you wearing out your welcome already? Maybe. Looking at the weekly, yeah, I mean, you can see some bounce here too. I mean, I do not want to discount the fact that we actually do have several things that do kind of align with a potential trap within this area, or a little bit lower, maybe one more continuation drive lower. But look, until we get one of those more tangible signals that it is an actual confirmed trap, direction's down, trend is down on all time frames that matter, and that's how I play it as a trader. So I do want to kind of step aside of all the hopium there. Michael Crook says, can you check U1 stock? It's like it's going to bounce on the 4 hour. It looks like it's going to bounce on the 4 hour. All right. U1. This? Urban 1. Okay. You're looking at the 4 hour and you say it's looking like it wants to bounce relatively soon. Yes. I'm not a big fan of this. Well, it's sloppy. It's sloppy as hell, but does it, do you look for a bounce somewhere around 8.25? Yeah, I do think so. So a little bit lower first, and I'll be looking for a bounce around here. You do have one massive long-term trading range, it looks like. And as long as you're below about 22.12, I mean, there's not anything too interesting to be looking at this on the macro scale. You do have rising lows, to be fair, so I always like that. But if you are looking at this as a macro long-term range, which actually is probably not on a daily, it's not really on a daily. Could we bounce around here and then come back down along this more long-term trend line? Maybe yes, definitely possible. But long-term, it does have a nice higher low structure, so I suppose that would be an opportunity. But you're specifically asking about the 4 hour. Yeah, I'd be looking for a little bit more downside than a bouncy somewhere around there. Stuart Wolstenholme says, hey Krown, what's up, man? Hey, appreciate it. Can you please check out GGP on the daily? Great land. Okay, GGP. Okay, on London. What's your exact question? Okay, you're saying on the daily, hold on the AIM market. Hoping for a double bottom. Okay, so I think what you're asking for is, are we going to get a double bottom here? No, this is a breakdown, and this looks like absolute dog shit, man. Do you get a short-term bounce off this region? Probably yes, but no, this thing is breaking down, and this looks very bad, actually. You're getting a death cross on the on exponential moving averages. That's the green 55 and the purple 200 right there. That one means a lot on an actual break of structure on new lows. Here was your structure right here. You had a chance as long as it was above about 1975. Yes, it probably does bounce around here, but do not confuse a bounce with a reversal. This one is topped out and very likely coming down for the foreseeable future. I'll be looking at next major bounce somewhere around about 1675. Monthly says same thing, 1675 or 16 and a half. Long term though, I mean, here's a real chart. This is a parabolic blow off top. Typically, when parabolas blow off their top, they will go for a humongous retracement, and I don't think that this one's going to be done after a bounce in the 16 and 3/4 region. To be honest with you, I do think that long term it has a great potential to come back down below $10. I do not like it's if you're trying to play this to the long side, if you're hoping for like a 4-hour bounce to put you back in the daily range. I mean, just understand that you're kind of playing humongously against the trend, and this literally looks like an actual breakout right here. We see volatility moving up, so we're trending up on volatility on a break of structure, continuation of downtrend, and daily is getting back into the bearish control zone. That is very likely continuing there long term. But short term, do you get a bouncy bounce? Probably yes, but double bottom, fuck no, or very unlikely, I should say. Kirk McCoster says, my sad works at Bitcoin. Oh, my sad? Your dad probably works at Bitcoin. He says like and subscribe. Nice. Hey, awesome. Your dad said like and subscribe. Who am I to argue with that? Appreciate that, man. Johnny Boy 950 says, can you take a look at PCG stock? Is this what I think it is? Pacific Gas and Electric. Yeah, I remember this piece of shit company when I was a kid living in California. Oh man, yeah, they really are a piece of shit company. They've been going down ever since the dear lord, yeah, just a straight shot down since 2017. Dear lord. All right, so what time frame are we looking at? You did not give a time frame. You just said, can you look at it? Thanks. I'm looking at it right now. You're welcome, but I feel like that's unhelpful. I think the question is, or what's probably more relevant is what is this thing likely doing? It looks like shit, man. Looks like actual shit. Monthly is a breakdown. I'd be looking for monthly to generally move its way back down to 850 over the next few months here. There is nothing at all whatsoever bullish about this thing as long as you're below the last monthly pivot, which is $16.50. So, over the next few months, I'd probably be looking for price action down around here in the mid to upper 8s. And then if that area does fail, I'd probably be looking for another retest of the lows. And I mean, who am I to say that the macro trend does not continue to the downside when you look like this on a quarterly? It looks absolutely dog shit, man. Very bad. Very, very bad. Very fucking bad. Short term, do you try for a bounce day? Maybe, yeah. I mean, this thing can bounce up all the way to $11. Still looks like absolute shit, though. That's the problem with these long-term charts. So, in fact, actually, the daily does look like it wants to bounce here. 10.5, very likely. Maybe even all the way up to 11 if things really get crazy with a move back above 1064 swing high. So take that as you will, man. Hopefully that was some way helpful. But unfortunately, if you do not include like a time frame or even more specifics than that, it's a little bit difficult to kind of read your mind and figure out what you're looking for. All right, Mr. BK, what's up, man? Hey, Krown, can you take a look at AMP USD on Gemini Exchange for our daily weekly? Yes. This one I remember we looked at a few times and it actually had a pretty good chart last time we looked at it. So let's see how it's doing now. Not so well now, huh? Not so well. Yeah, joining the rest of the market. So not immune from Bitcoin's movements. Here's what I can say is good about this thing. It's actually still not in a downtrend. So fair enough. That deserves respect on its own. Do I think that we get a nice bounce off of like 6 cents? Yes, I do. Now, what time frame were you looking at? 4-hour daily, weekly. Okay, what does a weekly look like? Weekly's a backfilling up. I don't hate that, at least currently. What does a 4-hour look like? 4 hours, a little bit of a short-term bouncy region. I do think it tested the downside once again, somewhere around like, low 6 cent, but I would be looking for a bounce around there. Actually a little bit. Yeah, low 6 cent, anywhere around like 6 to 6.25. I give it the benefit of the doubt, but look, is it wise to be trading obtuse to what Bitcoin's doing? Well, traditionally speaking, no. 99% of the time, that is not a good thesis to have. But this thing has been consistently doing something different ever since. I guess it's only been around for about a year, so that doesn't really help that much that case. But I give it the benefit of the doubt. I'd probably be looking for a bounce at just around 6 cent, we'll call it, and then come back to it after that. And you do actually have an uptrend as long as you're essentially closing dailies above 6 cents. So take it as you will. I do think it's a bit shaky, and you definitely are trading against the market here, but give it the benefit of the doubt, I guess. as long as that condition is met, I suppose. But man, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it myself, to be honest with you. What's up, Grime Time? Good sir. Hello, good sir. Can you please check out VYGVF? VYGVF. Did I get that right? Voyager Digital. What do I know this name from? What do I know that name from? Voyager. What's Voyager? Fuck, what? I know it's like a space shuttle. I'm gonna fuck in the mouth of your space shuttle. Goddamn groups are at it again. Daily, weekly. All right, let's see. 4 hours looking not so hot. Daily's looking not so hot. Weekly is also looking not so hot. Looks like we're in the first sort of phase of the breakdown here, actually, after about a 2-month-long consolidation from April. I'd generally be looking for this one to keel on over to about $11 before the next meaningful bounce. This is very toppy right here. Short term, I mean, could we maybe see a fake out? Possible, yes. You have a very easy way to kind of be documenting a potential trapped, in this case, anywhere above 17 and 20 cents. I'd be saying, hey, this is a trap. We're going back up towards 20 to 21 bucks. And this is still bullish long term, but as long as that is not met, no, I'm bearish on this, and I'd be looking for it to come down ultimately like 12, about 11 and a half to $12 for the next like meaningful bounce, and perhaps that bounce just gets sold into long term. But I'd at least be looking for that first. Monthlies. Yeah, we have another very weird activity going on here. I mean, look, man, for like years almost, or at least like 3 to 4 months, it just doesn't even trade. I mean, this is the problem with OTC bullshit. You just can't really trust it. So that would be my conditions for that one. But generally speaking, I would not like it. Oh, Mr. Josh, what's up, man? Yo, bro, thinking of putting some cash into Tesla. Daily and weekly thoughts. All right, let's check it out. I need to give a massive shout out to Josh, man. Josh has traded this market so fucking maturedly, so professionally, actually. I really need to give a shout out to this, because what Josh did is, not only did he stick to his plan, where he basically like bought the fucking lows of VET and then held all the way to basically the fucking highs and literally sold pretty much the actual high. But now he made the even more difficult decision, which is where most people get fucked up. Because, some people can get lucky with doing that. Yeah, absolutely. Does definitely happen. Where people get fucked up, though, is that they will then rush in to buy like the next thing. Or they will then, keep their money in the market, and because they feel like they need to be doing something. And realistically, he's been all cash since this whole time, and it sounds like he's just waiting. So that deserves a lot of respect, because it's not easy to do, and that's shows a lot of trading maturity. Anyways, looking at Tesla right here, do I think it could be a good investment on the daily, weekly? I mean, it sounds like you're probably more long-term into this, asking about these timeframes right here. I do think it actually does pop back up here. It actually does not look bad. And with the way that NASDAQ's looking, I would not really be bearish in general on tech stocks. And in this case right here, I mean, you're still operating within the range. I don't look at this as all that bad. You have a pretty obvious range right here. So it's like, look, you're kind of buying near the range lows. If you're looking at the daily, then you're actually literally buying the range highs. So that's usually doesn't work too well. But I actually do like this. You do see daily jewel, continuation signal right there. Weekly is pointing towards some hidden bullish divergence right here. Weekly TSI is a bullish reset, it looks like, for now. So I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. I do think it's going to be oscillating within the greater range between about 760 and 550 for a while. But I'd give this one the benefit of the doubt, man. I actually see some pretty damn good things here. Daily BBWP is looking for expansion. So if this expansion does come to the upside, then I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards 725 to 750 or 760. And this one looks pretty damn good. But again, it depends. It depends exactly what you're trying to do here. I imagine you're probably very long term. The monthly, I'm not a humongous fan of. I'm not a big fan of this at all. Let's look at the quarterly. Quarterly is not terrible. You can play the range here, and the good thing about this sort of range right here is you have a very obvious way to play it. Look, as long as this thing's essentially above this last higher low right here, which is basically on the not on the 377, but on the daily 200. You could probably use that as a risk management tool, and fair enough. You get to play the macro structure, and you're buying, below the median of the overall range. It's a fair strategy, I suppose. But understand that you are employing a little bit more risk here, to be fair, based off the higher term timeframes. But with the way that NASDAQ is looking, I still do think that we probably do hit my $15,000 target, like macro long term, which I've had for like the last year now. And, does that bode well for Tesla? Yeah, it does. So keep that in mind, I suppose. Yok John, hey, appreciate that nice little emoji, man. Keep it up. I will keep it up all night long, sir. Just kidding. Shahar Epstein says, I want to share with you and all. On Friday, I was on a flight to Amsterdam. I collapsed. We emergency land in Athens. Really? I was rushed to surgery and they opened my art. What the fuck, man? Hey, what happened, sir? Holy shit, that's crazy. I mean, it sounds like you're fine. How the fuck did you recover so fast? Sorry, I'm just like impressed, but well, I'm glad you didn't like have a I'm glad you didn't have anything more serious than that happen. I mean, Jesus Christ. You were on a flight and you collapsed, so you emergency land. What the fuck? How I have so many questions, man, but hey, I'm just glad that you're not, dead. Like that's Bitcoin might be dying, but at least you're not, sir. And you know what? That's actually a good thing to focus on, man, because at the end of the day, there are more important things than magical internet money that is ephemeral and can't even be touched with real hands. So Jesus fucking Christ, man, that definitely does help bring your perspective, man. You might think that losing from finances is bad, and yes, it is bad, but you could be losing your life as well. So, goddamn, man, glad that did not happen. That is scary as all hell, man. Did you have any warning signs or anything? Maybe I shouldn't ask. Maybe it's like a personal thing, so I'll just lay off. Wolf359 Survivor says, "Hey, Crown Dog, how's Loop Ring doing?" Loop, holy shit! I remember when people on Bodybuilding Misc were talking about this great thing. Is it still a thing? Loop, maybe I'll just type it in. Yeah, it is. It is a thing. Oh, it's LRC. That's why. Okay. Let's try this one right here. It looks like shit, sir. Oh no! My poor sweet loop rings. They were supposed to be making me rich, and instead, I got distributed on my fucking face. I'd be looking for this one to trade back down, man. 18 cents or so. Looks very bad. You got a daily exponential moving average death cross within this consolidation range right here. You could probably make a measure move on this. It was a nice descending triangle now, wasn't it? Something like this. Let's just visualize it. Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, somewhere down around 17 cents. I'd be looking for a bounce around there. But is the bounce a reversal? I don't know. Not looking at this, man. Looking at this, fuck no. If you see any monthly close under 25 cents, I will go as far as saying that you will see this thing come all the way back down to single digits over the next half year. So keep that in mind. Cole Evans says, "Hey, Crown, what's up, man? Can you check out Cardano USD 4 hour and 12 hour and daily? Okay, and weekly for downside targets on this next big move. I think we already hit like our 110 target actually from yesterday. Did we? I think I saw this in the morning. Let's see. Got 190 right here. I still don't really hate this monthly, to be honest with you, but if we do take out last monthly low, that's going to be pretty shitty. Let's see. Did we hit 110? Pretty fucking close, man. 113. I do think it probably has another stab down, somewhere around like $1 even or so. That is essentially the bottom side of our structure right here, which I actually deleted for whatever reason, but just right here is what I'm talking about. Somewhere around the 200 simple, plays within there a bit. I suppose long term you can be still somewhat optimistic on it, I suppose, if you're like very long term, as long as you're operating above about $1 even, a nice psychological round even number as well. But see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, the monthly I don't hate, man. The weekly I do not particularly like, but yeah, I do think it has another stab down. You're getting that first bounce off of what I would essentially consider 110. I'll probably be looking for one more leg down around here, give it a chance, and then if this does not hold, then you can really start to hold your breath for a much more macro move. In that case, I'll be looking towards 80 cents. 80 cents very likely does not become the low. I'd probably ultimately be looking for like 50 cents before I potentially look for a macro low. So keep that in mind. It is pretty damn top heavy there, to be fair. Let's see what momentum also to say on the higher term time frames. All right, we just don't even have enough history here. Weekly, yeah, weekly Jewel did give a pretty damn good sell signal on the 10th of May, and that was actually the high thus far. So typically when you get a sell signal like that, you're going to first play down to the 21 and then get extension to the 55, and that is 80 cents. But I wouldn't say that off the hill just yet. I'd want to see it actually close below the $1 first, and then yes, another 20% down or so. Hey, what's up, Mimi's that butter my biscuits? Up, left, right, A, B. Frickin' cheat code not working, sir. How do I unlock the Lexington Steel mode? You talking about this? Hey, what the fuck? Oh my god! I've been scammed. My fucking Stream Deck scammed me. I've been scammed. What the fuck is this? I got scammed. Oh my god. Oh god. All right, there you go. Signal unlocked. Sebastian, Mr. Gwyn's back in the house. What's up, man? This is my 6 months successfully trading mainly. Oh, nice. So, okay, so 6 months successfully trading. That's pretty fucking good, man. Pretty damn good. All right, so you're saying you're swinging BCRX, CXW, TDOC, CVS. Any advice on indicators or moving averages to use? It depends what your strategy is. So backwards engineer. Look, you don't just like use an indicator because you like the name of the indicator or like someone else uses it. It depends on what you're trying to do. So I believe after knowing you for a while now, you typically ask about higher term timeframes. I would assume you're probably interested in like long-term trends. Long-term trends, I would typically employ moving averages for. Yes, you want to match it up with someone else as well. So I always like to base, like some sort of I like to have a few different things going on. So if you are very long-term, the way that I kind of structure that is I'd go first structure trend. I mean, that's given if you are trading long-term. Moving averages on top of that, which will essentially be a secondary confirmation of that fact. And then I'd actually add in like a volatility-based metric like BBWP. So when you see BBWP start to expand alongside, alongside like a confirmation of trend continuation, you can feel confident holding whatever position that you're holding in that direction. And then same thing for when volatility starts to contract, you can start to say, maybe I think of closing this position a little bit and taking some profit here, maybe positioning lower if I want to and looking for a bit of a reset. You do something like that. But again, it really depends what you're doing. And okay, so sorry, I did miss what you said there, and that's a big piece of it. So you're swinging, you're swinging it, you're swinging your big old dick around, sir. That's great. That's awesome. I would think that more long-term strategies is probably what you're looking for then. So yeah, like very, very simple stuff in that case. Structure trend, moving averages, and volatility. Shahar says, I'm fine in recovery. Thanks for this channel and all you do. Man, my pleasure. But sir, I'm like concerned about your fucking health, dude. Probably more arteries clogged without your guidance. well, that's good to know, man. I'm glad that I could have some sort of positive impact there. Fucking hell, man. Maybe I should get checked out. I've been eating so much goddamn meat. It's probably
You should.
it's gonna be over soon, man. Got to go out like a fucking fire in the flame. Reed Harvey says, thoughts on the possibility of a 3 peaks and a domed house playing out right now on Bitcoin daily, maybe in basement bear trap. I'm actually not familiar with that formation. Personally speaking, I'm not a big pattern trader myself, but I suspect you're talking about like the fact that we basically have a downtrend. So you got 3 lower peaks and then you got a dome right here. I mean, that would just be basically within the lines of like distribution, right? Or redistribution. So you got your distribution over here, redistribution right here, markdown comes next, right? But what are my thoughts of it playing out? I mean, look, I don't think that you need to put an exotic name on this format right here. The reason why is because at the end of the day, all of these patterns come down to structure anyway. So this is why actually, I respect good pattern traders because like it can be done, and there definitely are people out there who do a pretty damn good job of it. Shit, we have a guy in the Discord who pretty much only trades patterns. Mr. Plums, Mr. fucking Mark B, Mr. Z's pick sender. I really like that guy. He is Mr. Chill by fucking definition. And he loves patterns. And it can definitely be done. No doubt about that. And I know several pattern traders who are very successful over a long period of time. It's not for me. I don't really care that much for it. But as far as structure goes, you can almost always relate. In fact, I can say that in an absolute term, you can always relate a pattern to a structure anyways. And it's just the probability of it, breaking in one direction is kind of like a little bit more likely depending upon what kind of structure it is. In this case right here, I'd say the same thing. Look, you got a structure, this sort of consolidation range right here between $41,000 and $31,000. Broke to the downside. You got lower lows, you got lower highs, so you got trend on your same side as well. More or less likely going to the downside. That would be the general disposition there. Bitcoin daily looks similar to gold daily chart in 2010, 2011. Interesting. Very interesting. Brian Davis says, FTNT stonk. I've made a ton on it in the short term. How much farther could I ride this baby? FTNT. Let's see. Okay, so you've made a shit ton of money, which is always good. It's always good, sir. In the short term, how much farther could I ride this baby? Look, I don't see anything. Look, it's very fucking extended. It's very aggressive here. At some point, yeah, it's going to reverse. And this is a fucking parabolic rally, and you probably will blow off your top. But does it have one more move? The problem with these things is they do become relatively difficult to kind of get the actual top. The problem with these things is that you're never actually going to, in my experience, you're never going to actually get the top. You just identify after the top and you say, all right, I'm done here. But if you made a shit ton of money this short term, look, you got an obvious way to kind of be looking at this right here. If you're trading the actual trend, you can say, look, as long as we are above yesterday's low, this is just a short term consolidation before more continuation to the upside. Daily RSI is still more or less healthy. Daily TSI is aggressive as fuck, but technically healthy for right now. I just let it roll for the time being. There's no real targets to be made on a parabolic blow off top like this. It's just going to do what it's going to do. And I guess I would comfortably feel I'd comfortably stay long for now, but I'd have stop loss below yesterday's low, and then I'd start to move that up as this one starts to go through more and more short-term consolidations. In fact, you probably even go down to the very short-term time from like a 4 hour, and you could do the same thing right here too, and you probably will need to over time. But this one's getting close. It's not quite there just yet, but it is getting close. I want to see BBWP get to an extreme on the actual highs too. That would be a good sign as well. Hey, what's up, Mr. Nate? What's up, Krown? Remember the 1T for a total market cap scenario I raised a few weeks ago? Bear trap there before rally on fib retracements for the bull trap. Yeah, actually, I do remember that. I do remember that briefly, but it does kind of play into my idea that a potential bear trap is possible within this region. Still think it's a little bit unlikely, but yeah, it would be right around. It'd be right around those regions. Yes, yeah, and you're talking about a move to 1 trillion first. I mean, that'd be basically around our last macro breakout, actually, on the total market cap. Do I think it's possible? Yes. Yeah, it's possible. Again, there are several things that do suggest that this isn't necessarily the exact reaction to be looking for on a big breakout like this thus far. But I still do play it as far as the trend goes. That's the way they look at it. It's just like a possibility until we start to confirm one of the things that we spoke about earlier. It's down, and there's not really any sort of like crystal ball that's worth doing, in my opinion, because it's just going to kind of maybe send you further astray. What's up, Go Lucky? Hi, bruv. Can you check out ILU daily and weekly on ASX? Sure. ILU. What's this? Okay. And you said daily, weekly. Weekly looks like it wants to continue a little bit more here. Okay, so we're right around macro highs, it looks like, after a very long-term consolidation for about 10 years almost, or actually about 10 years. See what the monthly looks like. Monthly's pretty good. The question is it ready from here, or do we come back down into range? Monthly looks pretty good. Monthly can definitely continue. It's in a good posture there. You're looking at the daily. Yeah, play this one to the upside as long as it's kind of riding these higher lows at about 770-ish region. Short term, I'd be looking for another move towards 840, 845. Anywhere above this local high right here, even on a tick, which actually is 845, I'd look for another retest of the highs at just under $9. Long term, you do have to be a little bit careful on this because you don't really want to be buying resistance, right? But that'd be my breakout area on a weekly closure above about 810, and you can start to look towards massively new all-time highs. But for right now, it looks pretty good. Weekly actually has a lot of good things going on for it, so I give it the benefit of the doubt at least to like give another try up there, and then I'd probably play it safe and wait for like an actual confirmation of breakout. Kevin fucking one says KSM for me familia, sir. Short, medium term, timeframes. Hey, no problem, man. No problem, sir. All right, so you're looking at KSM. I think I have it over here. I put it on my list because it was generally doing good things at now at 220, so not so much anymore. All right, now what exactly were you looking? Okay, short, medium term. Okay, short term means 4 hour to me. Short term, could we play a little bit of a bounce? I mean, I think it's easier to look for a bounce on Bitcoin first, right? So if Bitcoin plays out a bounce, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up to like 255, 250-ish region. If you're looking at medium term, maybe you look at that as like a 12 hour. I mean, it doesn't look good, man. Look, it's closing on new lows. It's about to get a death cross right there. This would not be a good one, by the way. Here's what the daily looks like. It's a hard chart to love as long as it's below the 200 simple here, especially. So that is 260. I do think you could rally up to 250 maybe on a 4 hour. Look for Bitcoin on direction in this case, but there's really nothing to be spoken about as far as like an actual reversal here, as long as you're below the last 4 hour lower high, which is actually above 300 in this case. So, you got a lot of work to do there, but I do think Bitcoin, could very easily bounce around where we're currently at. But look at Bitcoin first. Where would I kind of confirm a bit of a bouncy bounce? Yeah, we actually have a pretty obvious hourly structure right here. Anywhere above the last hourly swing high on a wick basis, 33,264, or a closing hourly above about 33.2, and then I'd be looking for it to play back up to 34.5 region. You probably see KSM try towards that. I think it was 250 target first, and then come at it after that. Other than that, it doesn't look fucking good, man. We're generally making excuses for a lot of things right now. I want to be very, very clear with the sort of more potentially bullish things that I spoke about. That is hopium. That is fucking hopium, and that is not something that I'd be, basing a trade off of at this moment in time. I need to see those situations proven first. It's just a possibility right now. It is certainly not the highest probability. I'll put it that way, at least in my opinion. King Cosmic says, "Hi, spy please, 1 in 4 hour macro." Yeah, let's do it. Let me find my spies right here. Now, I do think is it cool with you if we go to futures instead? I just think futures are more interesting, and they also trade in after hours too. All right, so we got hourly, and I think you all said 4 hour and macro. Okay, so macro is quite easy. I mean, we have an uptrend, right? We have an uptrend. It's bullish until it's not. We can use not this month low, but last month low as a reversal point for right now. If you're looking at like the quarterly for the macro, there's nothing bearish about that. As it stands, with another 8 days left to go. Now, a lot can happen within those 8 days, but as it stands right here, if it closes anything like this, anywhere above even 41.50, I guess I'm long. I guess I'd continue to be bullish on it long term. Pretty fucking crazy chart. Anyways, what are we looking at right here? Could this be a little bit of a fake out to the upside before getting ready for some downside? Well, short term, yes. I do think it comes back down to base around 42.10 region. I do think whether you're bullish or bearish in the short term, you will get a pullback here. The question is, does the pullback fail below 4,200 essentially? If it does, this is all going to be very likely coughed up, or at least we come back down and test around 4170 to 4160, which is the macro area, by the way. So that'd be rather interesting. But for right now, I'd just be looking for a short-term pullback down around there, probably a bounce at around 42, come back to it after that on the short-term timeframes. But for right now, you do have to respect the higher lows, I suppose. But below 4,200, especially on an hourly close, below 4,200, even 4,204, I do think that yesterday's rally is going to be essentially coughed up if that were to happen. All right, cool. JV says, Tesla on a daily descending triangle to you. Let's see. Actually, we looked at that one earlier, and I actually think that there's some signs of accumulation within this range. Are you looking at a daily? You are. Yes, you are. Is it a descending triangle? No, not yet. Not yet. And if you're talking about right here, then certainly not, because this is literally already coughing up or coming up to the past high. It's not like this anymore. But maybe you're talking about this. Maybe you're talking about this. Could this be it? Yeah, this could be it. So actually this would be a good counterpoint. I'm glad that you pointed this one out. This would be a good counterpoint to what I said earlier. I mean, perhaps this does turn into a distributed pattern, but you'll know that with another rejection right around 660. So is it possible? Yeah, it is. I mean, this actually could be, this definitely could be a descending triangle. I think it's a little bit less likely though. I do think it is a little bit less likely just based off the weekly here. But is it within the cards? Yeah, it is. Quarterly, a little bit more under pressure. I mean, if we take out the last quarterly low, then yeah, that would be a lot more concerning. But right now, looks like a little bit of short-term uppity up. Yeah, I'd give it the benefit of the doubt for right now. I mean, maybe you look at the hourly as a bit of a bear flag, but I don't know, man. Usually you don't see bear flags going for that long, and I don't see the same thing on like a medium or higher term time frame. So that's usually a sign that that's probably not the play. Okay. Dude Daddy says 1,300 people in here and 469. Ooh, 460. That's actually a pretty damn good number. Hit up the likes, you lazy bums. I would appreciate that, yeah. But look, man, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe as well. You can also tick the bell or smash the bell or just smash your fucking derp, herp your derp, and that'll always be good for you too. But nah, man, you gotta let people make the decision for themselves. It does actually help out the channel, which was like really fucking interesting to me. Because I was speaking with like someone who actually knows fucking YouTube, which I do not, or at least I don't know it as well as I should, being that I have like a fucking YouTube channel. And they're like, look, man, you probably should tell people to like, because it actually makes a humongous difference. All right, please like. Brizzy B says, can you look at Aussie dollar on the daily, weekly? Yes. Like the video and I'll take my shirt off, and Elsa will take her shirt off. Yeah, you. That's right. Okay, daily, weekly. Let's see what we got here. Daily, kind of reminiscent of Bitcoin too, man. Very interesting to see that a lot of these currencies kind of play somewhat similarly. Generally speaking, I do think this one has more downside. We do have a weekly jewel sell signal, and while we are getting that first move down to the 55, kind of what we spoke about this on a different one as well. I would be looking for first a bounce here short term, but very likely continuation to the 200 in this case, which is down around 73 and a third or 73 and a half. On the daily, Daily's a little bit more strange to me. Could you have a bit of a trap if you do close back above the 200 simple here? Yes, and in that case, I would target back up towards 76.50, but that is obviously against the trend right now. And generally speaking, I'd be looking for continuation of the downside. What's a monthly say? Yeah, the monthly is a lot more obvious. Yeah, I would be generally bearish on this one. I do think that you've hit yet again another macro top right here, and guess what? It's another lower high in a series of lower highs ever since July 2011. So, can bounce around a bit, obviously. On the daily, I mean, it could even bounce back up to the breakdown point at like 75, 80-ish region, but I do think this one has more downside long term if that's what you're focused on, which I think you are with a time frame like that. Gabriel M just has a nice chat, but no words with it. Hey, what's up, Larry ABC? Thanks for that, man. Hi, Krown. Could you recommend a good CPA in Chicago? Well, the good thing about CPAs, man, is you don't need to see them in person anymore. And for myself, I don't know. I mean, I did have a good CPA, but he wasn't in Chicago. He was in San Francisco. Oh, fuck. I forgot what the fuck was his name? Oh, my God. What was his name? This guy was great. Oh, fuck. I forget his name. But I don't think he's taking new clients anyways, or at least last I spoke with him, which admittedly was like 3 years ago. So nowadays I have a CPA that's like focused towards expats because, I don't live in the US, and you kind of need like a specialized CPA for that. So unfortunately, man, I don't have any good recommendations for you because I can't recommend someone that I haven't used myself. And the guy that I did use was in San Francisco, and his name is like right on the tip of my tongue. Oh my God. And I don't believe that he's accepting new clients. So unfortunately, I feel really bad that I can't help more than that, man. But I can't like recommend someone who I haven't like actually worked with myself. And even then, man, I mean, you're probably get better off with a Google search, to be honest with you. Kendrick DeCamp says SS Voyager is the Federation's most advanced ship. Oh fuck, yes, that's it. That's Voyager. glad that Mr. DeCamps can aware me on that. By the way, how's Warhammer going, man? I'm actually very excited for for Warhammer 3 coming out on Total War later this year. Jack Asiman says, good morning, Krown. What's up, man? Ethereum Bitcoin 4 hour daily. Yeah, let's see where this one's at. I'm very curious to see. I'm gonna imagine that I'm gonna be completely wrong on this one, but nope, it's still at 6 million satoshis or around there, it looks like. It doesn't look good here, though. I mean, we did close on new lows. I would have really been looking for a bounce yesterday if that was going to happen. Instead, it was just a sell. So, I suppose I do have to stick with what I said, generally speaking, on Bitcoin dominance. As long as we see Bitcoin kind of operating outside of the range, which it is, we expect generally Bitcoin dominance to go up, which means that altcoin versus Bitcoins typically go down. In this case right here, do I get really fucking bearish on this? I still have trouble getting macro bearish on it. I'm just not bearish on a chart that looks like this ever. I mean, it's just a pullback. The problem is the ranges are fucking massive. Next major area to be aware of is obviously going to be the weekly 21. That's down around like 5.3 million satoshis. Daily has a little bit of a level right here, but I don't think that means it's going to mean much of anything, to be honest with you. Look, now you have a bit of a bit of a failure right here, or sorry, a bit of a potential trappy situation right here. Actually, let's just get rid of everything. Okay, so this one would be the next weekly area, somewhere down around here, down around there. Obviously, this was your low from yesterday. I could say that this one is a bear trap if you do trade back above about 6.28 million satoshis. But until that happens, trend is down, and the breakdown is, I suppose, real. I'm curious though. I want to make an excuse for this one because I really do like the higher term timeframes actually. Yeah, quarterly I still like, man. I'm just not bearish on something that looks like this. This one could play down quite a fair bit and still be okay long term on the macro scale. Short term though, not looking the best right there, to be fair. I would use this last pivot right here though to change around daily buys, however. But until that doesn't happen, it's the same thing as Bitcoin. It's like, look, everything's down. We very likely trade further south, but above there, I would change around my opinion. It would now be considered a trap, and we play back up towards the top side of the range. For Bitcoin, that would be back around $40,000. But is that like the most likely thing to happen right now? I don't think so. No, that's my conditions for that. Shahar says, before the flight, was crying over losses, worried about rent, trying to figure out a position for the 6-hour flight. Already had pain on my back left side. Jesus Christ, man, but did not make the connection to the heart. Okay, so Jesus fucking Christ, man. Well, shit, man. It's true. Stress will kill you. Stress will fucking kill you. I'm still hospitalized at Athens. I just never miss your live streams unless I'm unconscious. Well, fuck, man. That's very very man. I don't know what to say. That's Look, man, if you need to take care of your health, take care of your health, man. You're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna mess much in this market, man. It's, take care of yourself first, brother. I'm glad to hear that it sounds like you're doing fine now, but goddamn, that is a hell of a situation, man. That is definitely keep us updated, but hey, man, if you need to take care of yourself, like seriously, take care of yourself first, man. We're gonna be here no matter what, man. I'm not going nowhere. That makes no sense. I'm not going anywhere, man. Until I get banned from YouTube for talking shit about China, but for right now, man, you're not gonna miss anything here, brother. Tokyo Channel says hello. Hope all is well. Hope all is well with you too, man. Oh wow, we have a what is that? That's Japanese language. How the hell do you even pronounce that? Is that Sudoku? No. What the fuck is that term? I don't even know. Could you look at dollar yen? Yeah, let's check it out. USD. I think we were bullish on this last we looked on the macro scale. Would I still be bullish on it? Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. It's ready. It's ready. Yep. I'm still looking towards 111.62. Next major weekly level, and monthly I think trades up to 114 plus. This is very good. Very good. I'm still macro bullish on this, and this looks very, very good. Yeah, quarterly is powerful. Oh man, quarterly is powerful. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing even tag back up towards like 117 like over the next year or two. Looks very good. Hidden bullish divergence off that last low. Nice. Quarterly TSI bullish reset, also nice. Yeah, very, very good. Very, very good, sir. Okay, we got Mr. Rubio. Hey, Krown, can we confirm that bearish divergence on Bitcoin? Can you look at ICP Internet Computer? Okay, so you're talking about the hidden bearish divergence on the hourly. Did we confirm it? Yes, we did. So now, technically speaking, target on something like that is going to be down to the 10 simple, which is about 32.3, and your risk management. I mean, if you are playing something like that, which I'm not saying that you have to, but if I were playing something like this, maybe that's a better way to postulate this. If I were playing something like this, my risk management would be either the high of this dildo right here, which is 33,264 on a static stop loss, or a closure above about 33,000 about actually. As long as that doesn't happen, I look for this one to come down to this level first, probably a short-term bounce there. And then if that one fails, a full retrace down to about 31.7, we'll call it. Somewhere down around there would be about right. Anyways, you're asking about ICP. So you just said, look at it. No time frames given, so I'm just going to go with daily. Let's see what we got here. Internet Computer Protocol. Sounds legit. Sounds very legit. As far as charts go, unlegit. Very unlegit. More downside incoming, sir. Volume is increasing on the downside. It's literally never known what an actual uptrend is. I have to say I am mega bearish on this. But again, going to follow whatever Bitcoin does more or less. But to the downside, it's going to follow it more. Meaning that if it goes to the downside, it is going to go more to the downside. Most likely. Let's actually go check out Bitcoin Dom just really quick. I'm curious to see. Do we have continuation of trend officially? We do. Oh, we do. This baby's going back to 50. This baby's going back to 50. Altcoins about to join the boo cake party, it looks like. Whether it's up or down, man. Whether it's up or fucking down, altcoins will go down versus Bitcoin pairing. Gabriel M says, hi, Krown. Forgot to ask in my last super chat, Lamo, can you check out Goog for me? Sure, man. But what time frame, man? What time frame, sir? All right, we got Google right here. Still looks pretty good. Still looks pretty good. Oh my fucking Lord. Talk about a powerful chart. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ, man. That is that is a sight to behold. Look, man, there's nothing bearish to say about this, but just like the other mega bullish chart that we saw, it's like, look, you're in a parabolic rally, right? At some point, this will reverse, and it will happen very, very fast. But does this one have more upside before that? Probably yes, especially with the way that NAS is looking right here too. Good stocks are allowed to continue to go up for the time being. Daily RSI, kind of already played that divergence right there, I'd say. I don't really have too many interesting things to say about this, man. I play this one long-term bullish, and sorry, if I had to play this one short-term based off the long-term, if that makes sense, I'd use last week's low as a bit of a short-term pivot, and that is 24.83. Below there, I look for a move back down to like 24.20 region. But weekly RSI says that we still continue this rally. See what the monthly looks like. Monthly says we still continue this rally, maybe one more stab up. It's looking like it's getting pretty damn close to like some macro highs here, but for what it's worth, I still think you got one more move. I have no targets to give on something like this. Blue sky breakout, it's going to do what it's going to do, and there's no point in trying to guess it. What I would say though is that when you see like a selling climax, or sorry, when you see the selling come in, it should be rather obvious. And that's going to be your next big signal to get the fuck out. Fillmore says, so DoorDash just allowed Safeway purchases in my area. Nice. Would you trust some stranger to get their hands all over your veggies and bring them to you? The funny thing is, I just don't eat veggies for that reason, man. No fucking veggies. How about fuck your veggies? How about fuck that green bullshit? Eat meat, sir. Red meat's good for you. It's probably good for you. Well, just do your research on that. Don't listen to some idiot like me over the internet. I'm not a nutritionist, man. I spend my time looking at magic internet money, studying fucking pixels on my goddamn computer screen, thinking that that is something worth doing. Go reference like a true nutritional expert. You know, someone like this guy I fucking love. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Okay, if you want the best nutrition person possible, who's like the biggest nerd of nutrition, who I think is probably the best authority on nutrition that I'm aware of, maybe there's like a few other ones, but this guy's damn good, and his name would be Chris Masterjohn. Fucking phenomenal. Now, for whatever goddamn forsaken reason, he's apparently gotten into like doing technical analysis on Bitcoin. I would ignore most of that. He's a phenomenal nutrition expert, but goddamn, looking at his analysis on Bitcoin makes me want to scream sometimes. Like, oh my god, oh my fucking god, man, please do not. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy to go do for that. Anyways, that's not even any way related to your question. Just don't eat veggies, man. They're gross. They're fucking disgusting. Nero Strutton says, Krown, Zer, bruh, GRT, USD on short-term plates. All right. GRT, whoops. I actually literally pretty much only eat meat and some fruit from time to time. Okay, GRT, USD, you said short-term. We'll go to a 4-hour. Looks like shit. Look, man, you know, if Bitcoin bounces, I'd be looking for this one to bounce back up to like 58.5 cent region, but this one's lower highs as long as you're below 65. So it's just a continuation of downtrend. Daily is garbage. Hourly is looking like another lower high. Again, short-term pivot, 55 cent to the upside. And then, yeah, you probably do see a bit of a bounce on the 4-hour like we just spoke about, but it's all lower highs as long as you're below that 64 cent region. So I would just be looking for, well, probably another one of those until proven otherwise. What's up, Cole Evans? Hey, Krown, can you also check out a coin my friend is in? Sure, my friend. Veracity. Okay, well, what's the... Oh, I can just spell it. Veracity versus the derp. Okay. Oh, wow, this... Well, here's what you can tell your friend, sir. He's going to shitcoin jail. He's fucked. This looks like shit. This looks like a literal parabolic blow off top, and then your next markdown is coming right here, right fucking now. Descending triangle right here, continuation is implied. And are we going for the full retrace? Tell him what he's won, my friends! Tell him what our number one commenter has won! He's won a full fucking retrace! A full retrace! A full retrace! Healthy. This is bullish. Just a bunch of FUD, guys. Krown's trying to accumulate your Veracity tokens low. He's a fucking fudder. Looks bad. Real bad. Oh my god, we have 666 likes right now? What the fuck? This is the devil stream. Ah, shit. Now it's 700. We done goofed. We're done goofed. Alright. Alright, back onto it over here. Nate says, can you check out BLNK Daily Weekly? Sure. Whoops. Okay. Let's see what this is. Blink charging. All right. Looks to me like a short-term lower high on the daily. I'd be looking for this one to trade back down towards 65, or sorry, not 65, 36.65 short-term region. I do think it probably will try for a short-term bounce and then probably come down to like your more established support somewhere right around like low 30s, like 31, 32 region. But what was your, okay, you're looking at daily, weekly. Weekly, oh god damn it, Nate. Weekly, I guess long-term I'd probably be looking for a higher low on the daily on the next pullback, but I don't think it's ready from its current posturing. Pull back first, maybe set it up on the weekly or monthly here, because this does look like it is a macro reversal for now. On the next like actual breakout, I'd be looking towards actually $100, which is good. And you do see a lot of good signs right here, but short term down, long term, I'd probably like it long term. It's probably fine long term. But yeah, short term down, it probably does trade back down to like 31 bucks or so. Okay, Mr. DeCamps, there he is. The Dominicans are back with Bear Jesus. Oh, fuck yeah. And Elsa, go Jesus. There she is. Trend is down. All positions are BTC and cash. Why fight it? Holding either is key right now. Yeah, man. I mean, again, and that's exactly what I was just giving a lot of credit to Mr. Josh for, and it sounds like you're doing the same thing. You know, that's a very mature decision. Look, when the market isn't giving you what you want, cash is a very good position, and it will give you the opportunity to take advantage of the opportunities that you do like. I know it sounds like obvious, right? But think about how many times that you don't do this, because I know that I don't do it a lot of the time too. It's like that was one of my biggest sticking points when I first began trading. It's like always thinking that you need to do something. Look, you don't need to, and having that cash is a position. It literally is a position, because technically speaking, the dollar does move. And look, I mean, it's never going to be like the best position, because technically a short would be the best position, but it's never going to be the worst position either. It's always going to be an acceptable position to be in cash, or at least have some portion of your portfolio in cash. You know, I always say like 5% is a good amount. You know, just generally speaking, in times like this, maybe you turn those odds, maybe you rotate some capital around, so it's like 40 or 50%, maybe even more. Definitely possible. So yeah, man, that's actually a really mature decision. That's awesome, man. Fuck yeah. There we go, baby. What's up, Legend Ali Z's? There he is. Time to sell some ratio spreads on Bitcoin and collect premiums. But can you look at Shopify weekly? I'd be careful with selling options right now on Bitcoin, actually, just because volatility is trending up here. So you will be working against Vega. You know, if you're gonna play this here, I'd actually just be buying put spreads, to be honest with you. That's what you should have been doing at the end of last week, actually, kind of setting up positioning for a potential downside break. Anyways, your question is, and where is New Gang at, or can we look at Shopify? Okay, Shopify, yes. Yeah, Pablo hasn't asked about new yet. A little bit of a short-term rejection, it looks like, but long-term, I like it. I think that this one's actually breaking out long-term. In fact, you're seeing the first pullback after a macro breakout on new all-time highs. Weekly TSI turn up, weekly RSI hidden bullish divergence back into the bullish control zone, on expanding volatility, on continuation of trend, on a closure on new all-time highs. Bullish. I'm bullish on this. It's very good, very fucking good. This is very fucking good right here. I'm curious to see what Nucor is doing actually. Get a little bit more of continuation on that pullback, or is it time for the continuation to the upside? Yeah, a little bit on that pullback right there. A little bit of a bounce probably implied today, back up to 100, I'd say. Or maybe not today, but over the next couple days here. All right, Dan Dea says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? No problem, sir. I don't need my funds for at least 6 months. How likely is a long-term multi-year downtrend on Bitcoin? Very good question. So obviously I have to start this out by saying there's no way that I can possibly know. Now, what I can give you is some general guidelines that hopefully will be of some use to you. Now, the general idea within market cycles is that the faster that you move to the upside, typically the faster that you move to the downside, and typically the faster that it is over. So for example, if we go back here to 2013, you see Bitcoin just fucking flew like a goddamn rocket ship, like an Elon rocket ship right here for, you know, realistically only a couple months, from January 2013 to April 2013, right? So about a quarter. And then that 3 month long just massive bullish phase was resolved by April to October. So about 6 months, right? Or around 6 months. I'm probably not doing it exact, but you know, it's generally going to be a little bit shorter. Compare that with your macro, like here, when Bitcoin spends 3 years going to the upside from 2015 to 2018, it spent about, well, from 2018 to basically 2020, going sideways and down, you know, for the majority of the time. So generally speaking, you know, the faster that you go to the upside, the faster your market cycle will be. So in this case right here, we've been going up on a macro scale. Here's your macro breakout from November. So we've been doing it for basically December to April, so about 4 or 5 months. This is a relatively fast one, you know, somewhat similar to what we saw over here in 2013. So do I think that it's going to take multiple years? Probably not. No, I think a half year to a year, if this quite literally is like it right here, which man, fuck it, I don't need to give my stupid opinion on that. But my point is, my point stands. It's like, no, I don't think it'd be that long actually. But look, here's the easier thing to do. If you are thinking long term, which it sounds like you are, then perhaps you just make it easy on yourself. Look, just look for a weekly uptrend. Do we have a weekly uptrend right now? No, we do not. Well, I mean, where, okay, so you got like a high structure right here. Is this a lower high? Not really. Is this a low? Kind of, but here's your last low. Here's your last low, so it tend to be a higher low. Hard one to kind of make for that. For a 5 day, it's a lot more obvious here. We obviously are in a downtrend on the 5 day, and the 5 day actually has gotten the trends relatively well as well. So yeah, we're in a downtrend right now. To wait for an uptrend on the 5 day specifically. Okay, we got Mr. Bots for the win. If Bitcoin doesn't break down by this week, do you think we'll pull off something like 2020 where everyone was expecting 7.7, but we accumulated around 9K? Yeah, possible. Look, if the bears are going to take over, they do it here this week. If Bitcoin basically doesn't break down and like get continuation today, tomorrow, Thursday, I will be looking at that as a much higher probability of a major trap, and that'll still be verified by what we laid out earlier. But that's essentially what I'd be looking for. But for right now, the ball is in the bears' court, and I trade it and play it as such until proven otherwise. But by the end of the week, if we don't see that change around, yeah, I can definitely go. I can definitely reverse my thoughts on that. Absolutely. Oh, Mr. Pablo, there he is. I was smashing when you just read my mind. All good, man. New core 4-hour daily. All right, so I do think short term it is bouncing. Let's see what the very short term says, like a 4-hour. Yeah, I'd be looking for it to open up on a bounce day, probably bounce back up to $100. I think that this could be the next major low here, actually. Again, I do like all higher term timeframes, like monthly and above. I don't see anything realistically bearish about this. If things really got crazy to the downside, maybe like $86 or $87, but I think that's a little bit less likely to happen, especially with the way that the stock market's looking right now. It's looking maybe for another leg. The weekly is the only one that makes me think that we might have one more leg down to the 21 here, and that would be your $86 to $87 target. I think daily opens up on a bounce today. I think 4-hour opens up on a bounce today. I want to see it maintain above about 102.5 on a 4-hour close, and then I'd say with confidence that this is your next sort of like major low right here, and you trade back up towards the highs and probably continue with the long-term macro trend. I still like it. I still like it on the macro. Short term, a little bit more difficult, but I do think you are setting up for a bit of a bounce there. Okay, cool. Are we at the end of the stream right now? We're about an hour and 50 minutes into it. I think I can read some comments and then I'll get on with my own days, because I absolutely fucking need to, well, actually I don't know, because I have a doctor's appointment later. Hey, what's up? Mr. Dreadlocks. Hey, I want to say a massive thank you, man. Dreadlocks, so I saw that you made a post about me on, I don't know whose thing that was, but there's like some sort of a, top crypto YouTuber tournament or whatever the fuck. I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. But apparently I was in it, and then I was taken out of it. So, and apparently, you said something about it. So I just want to say thank you, man. Look, I don't expect anything to change right there, and whatever. I understand that people are going to make their own decision for themselves, and my channel is probably not as interesting to the majority of people. I think I was replaced with like an XRP channel. I think I looked at it. Hold on, I want to see this. Whose channel was this? Whose channel was this? I just want to see. Where was this? Okay, so it was BC Backer, who apparently is like an XRP guy. So fair enough. I mean, if they want to replace me, that's that's their prerogative. Can't get mad about that. But I do want to say thank you, man, for giving me a little bit of support in that, because kind of cool to see. Also kind of embarrassing to get fucking beaten out by a goddamn XRP guy. Anyways, Nimbo says, Krown, would you adjust bounce targets based on how weak the previous bounces have been? No, because first off, I mean, there's not even a topic of bounce here until Bitcoin until Bitcoin gets back above $33,000 on a closing basis on an hourly, or just above this wick right here. So look, a bounce is not even likely right now. Like, look, short term is down. I mean, we just confirmed hidden bearish divergence. Like I said, first target is about 32.3, and then continuation probably to 31.8, but that's a little bit less. So if you're going to see a fake out, you probably see it happen right around there. And if you do see a fake out and you do take out that area to the upside, then yeah, I'd be looking for a move back up towards 34.5 region or so. But yeah, the bounce has been pretty pitiful thus far. I mean, pretty much non-existent thus far. So no, I don't really have anything to change about that. It's just it looks like that would be a stretch to begin with already. It's like, it doesn't look fucking good right there. Hey, what's up, Dova Hattie? Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Very much thank you, man. That's very generous, sir. Sorry, Natty. I am not Natty, sir. Is that Natty? I am not Natty, sir. Take the old Seuss. Natty Dread. Love it, man. Fucking love it. Let's see if I can find any other interesting questions here. Hey, Krown, why do CME gaps get filled? Well, they don't. Okay, so So the question is, why do you see immediate gaps filled? Why do you see immediate gaps get filled? It's not necessarily, first off, the assumption within that question is not always 100% of the time true. It is the strong majority of the time true, however. But what our friend right here is talking about, Mr. Marty, is talking about these gaps on price action that you see on CME, because there's opens and closures there. Okay, so the reason why gaps typically get filled is actually a very logical reason. Look, when you have a big move, like let's say this one right here, where Bitcoin opens up down like 10%, it looks like right there. Basically, the market wants to come back to those regions when it wasn't actually trading on that exchange and see, okay, do we actually agree on this price action? Yes, we opened on a down note right there, but if we come back up, do we still see the same sellers come in around that price action? In this case, you can see very obviously yes. In this case over here, we do gap up, come back down, and there was actually an initial bounce there, but that bounce gets sold into. So the general notion is that that's why gaps do get filled. It's more or less because you do see that you want the market to have like kind of confidence within that region. So it's typically why you do see it. Now there are some times when gaps do not get filled, and those times are usually around macro breakouts. So you see this gap over here at December 2020 at about 19,000 or 18,000 bucks. That one is on the macro scale, and we could just easily say that is a good candidate for never getting filled. Then again, I mean, this current downturn right here, I mean, this would be the time to get it fucking filled, right? Pablo says, your twin asked me to send BTC, LOL, XLEX, X Steel, X Steel, okay. Got too many Lexington Steels in the back of my minds. All right, so you're looking at, okay. So your twin asked me to send BTC. Yeah, if I'll never ask you to fucking send me Bitcoin, man. I'm good, man. It's all good. Anyways, looking at X here, symbol X. Okay, I do like it on the macro scale. If you're talking about like a weekly, monthly. Problem is, does this one drop a little bit lower first before maturing within this consolidation to like 20-30ish region? Maybe yes. Look at the monthly. Yeah, monthly is a very obvious range right here. I do think that we could have one more downside move. Anywhere down around about 19.5 would be an obvious, about 20.25 to 20.5, not 19, but around 20.25 to 20.5. I do think would be obvious, because you will naturally get a golden cross on the weekly here on a nice consolidation on a trend reversal on the weekly, as long as you do essentially remain above this pivot. But that also implies that as long as you're above this pivot, yes, I do kind of play this one as sideways and up, and probably a short-term downside move. Second that you come back down below this pivot, which again is about 2030, I believe, then I'd be looking at this as another failed rally and another lower high in the macro structure, which is going to ultimately cough up this whole goddamn rally back down to single digits. But for right now, I give it the benefit of the doubt. I do see some things that I do definitely like there. Monthly's not as confidence inducing, but I like the weekly, and that's what I'm going off of more or less. So again, I wouldn't necessarily play it in its current structure right here. I think it's less obvious. I'd let it kind of mature a little bit more. But below, the easy trade is below 2030. Below 2030, bearish, and this one's going to cough up more or less the whole rally over the next few months if that would happen. What's up, Legend Ali's? Okay, talk me through put spread. Do you sell the lower leg, 28,000 bucks now to get protection, or do you wait? You don't sell. Oh no, you're talking about the lower leg. Okay, so if you're going to buy put spread, look, how do you do it on Bitcoin? If you're doing it like right from here, I mean, I don't think you do it right from here. I think you do it before the actual break. Like that's how you kind of position for those breakouts if you want to play them. But let's say, okay, we're going to deal with the hands that we were given right here, right now. What I would do is I'd buy like slightly out of the money. So I'd probably buy like $30,000 strike or maybe $31,000 strike. And then I'd sell like probably the $26,000 strike. Look, if you're selling the $28,000 strike, like where, like, it's too close. It's too fucking close to current price action, because realistically on a breakdown like this, like you really should be looking towards mid $20,000 territory. So you're going to sell $28,000 strikes. So that means that around that pivot, I mean, you might even have some risk depending upon how much you paid. So it's or depending upon what your split is. So if I were doing it and I literally had to take the position right now, you put a gun in my head and said, Krown, buy me a put spread, do the best that you can with this not optimal entry right here, and I'd say, okay, I'd probably buy the $30,000 strike, sell the $25,000 or $24,000 strike, and and I'd probably want it expiring in like, you know, a couple, maybe end of this week, and maybe roll to, well, probably not the end of this week, probably next week if anything. But then again, man, I mean, these are more or less premium right now. You really wanted to do that coming in on Sunday. If you're gonna buy premium, do it like kind of before CME opens on Sunday. That way you don't kind of eat it up on the weekend, which is more or less going to be decay. So it's a difficult, it's a tough situation. I probably wouldn't put it on at this exact moment right here. The time to do it was right here, yesterday, Monday, or Sunday. If you want to be super aggressive, that would have been the time. Or the top side of the range last week, if you do want to play it from like a ranging perspective. But in hindsight, that would have been a little bit too easy. Okay, you're also saying, or do you wait for a drive down and sell the lower leg? So what I would do, okay, so you're asking a little bit more of a specific question there. Okay. So in that case, again, hypothetical situation, we're running with your assumption. I'm not saying that this is the right assumption. I kind of already explained to you how I would do it myself, but if we're going to run with that assumption, how would I do that? Okay, so I would buy the first strike as much as I want, and then the second strike that I'm selling, I would sell maybe half. I'd maybe sell half and then hold and then keep another half in my hands for when we do drop down officially below like $30,000 if that is going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then yeah, you're going to eat a little bit more premium, and maybe just buy some stock on the other side to kind of siphon that off and cover yourself in that direction. Maybe even build a nice position off that. I mean, that actually would be the way that I like to play it, because it's like then you got a little bit of downside protection with your long puts. Yeah, you sold some against it, but that's fine. And then you can buy some stock at, in the low 30s, and if it does turn into a fake out, then you got upside exposure and your downside's more or less covered. You got a lot of options in the way to do things. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. Oh man, my nose itches. Did I answer Nimbo? Yeah, I believe I answered you, Nimbo, unless he made another comment here. Let's see. You sent it to me. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, I got that one. Okay, sweet. All right, let's get back onto it over here. Oh, there he is, Mr. Hoji42, Senior Krown. Bitcoin currently breakout and retesting confluence of yesterday and today's session VPOC and daily pivot, another leg up. Would it be another leg up? I mean, okay, from what I understand, I mean, okay, when you say another leg up, define your time frame, because if you're talking about on a daily, I mean, that I don't know if I'd agree with that. If you're talking about like a short-term time frame, I do think it's possible. But I've already kind of outlaid what I'd be looking for on a on a bit of a short-term reversal here. I want to see an hourly above either this high, which is 33,264, or a closure above this closing price right here, which is about 33, which could very well happen. I mean, we got 4 seconds left to closure, and it's actually getting bought back on up. Didn't even hit the 10 simple thus far, which is actually a good sign that we might see a bit of a short-term reversal here. Definitely possible. Let's go down to some very short-term time frames. What about like a 30-minute? Yeah, possible on the 30-minute. I'd say it's certainly undecided right now. 15-minute says yes. 15-minute actually looks like it wants to have a little bit of an upside posture here. Yeah, fair enough. Could be. And I'd be looking for a move up to about 34.5 region is where I'd be looking towards if that were to happen. But again, remember, that would just be another lower high, even on the 4 hour. It doesn't really do too much for me. 12 hour, obviously nowhere near. So as long as we're below 35,500-ish region, I play this as generally bearish, especially on a daily. All right, cool. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Frank Ignals? I see you there, man. It's been a long time. Holy shit. Let me find a comment for you, because that one just looks like I cut you off mid-sentence there. Please title your book "The View from the Trash." I'm in the trash, baby. I'm in the fucking trash, and here's where I live from now on, and always forwards. Okay, we got some tinfoil going on right now too. This is good. This is exactly what you want to see in a trading community. All right, very interesting. Hey, what's up, Jev? What's up, man? Wish you the best as well, man. Awesome. Hey, there's Vanguardist as well. Holy shit, we got all the OGs back in the house right now. Time for me to sleep and well long 31,500 and 32,500. Fair enough. Fair plan. Sounds like you already got your 32,500 position in there. So I think we can start to live it. Yeah, I think we can start to leave it off right there. So again, generally speaking, there are a few things that do call into question this current breakdown that would say, hey, maybe we do have maybe we do have a fake out here. One of them would be the volume signature on this. It's not necessarily anything too conclusive just yet, but it does offer up the potential for it. Now on Coinbase, it actually is moving up there. Open interest was another big one as well, as we actually saw open interest come down alongside this move to the downside. And we do see, well, volatility is actually expanding right here, so that would be not a good thing. So technically speaking, you know, it's a possibility, I suppose. It's not my main idea for this, but here is how I'd look at it on the short-term timeframes. You don't even have a short-term reversal. You do not even have a short-term reversal available until Bitcoin goes back up above this high right here, 33,261, or an hourly close above about 33,000 bucks. If that happens, or really realistically, it's more like 33,150, I believe. If that does happen, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to have a nice little move up to 34.5, maybe even 35,000 bucks. But here's the thing: as long as Bitcoin is operating on lower highs on the 4 hour, there is no talks of like any major trap going on here. And you can also further verify this by the last daily breakdown, as long as we're below, especially the 21. I mean, there's just no talks of like a major trap here. We do have a very similar setup on this area as we did over here on this trappy area. Extremely similar setup actually, but you know, that would technically not be happening today if it's going to happen. It'd probably happen tomorrow or the next day. So again, I do think that a lot of price action is going to be centered around Wednesday, Thursday especially. So I'd keep a keen eye out for that. But until then, man, trend is down on all time frames that matter, in my opinion. And generally speaking, I do have to be looking lower. As a trader, I do play this one to the downside for right now. And I think that's a good place to leave it off for the time being. Obviously, or sorry, let's go give the bearers their due diligence as well. You know, what do we have right here? We have daily closing below the bottom side Toronto band alongside daily MACD looking for a cross down on CME. Spot price action's already done it actually as of last night. So, you know, a bit of a pullback after your first, after your first sort of a break of range and also continuation on new lows. Typically going to continue to move in that same direction. So I'd still say that as a trader, but I do think that there's a potential possibility for a bit of a trap, but it is still well and far away, and it is not the main thing that I'd be thinking right now. It's just a possibility. Anyways, with that said, I want to salute you. I want to wish you the best bets. It's been an absolute pleasure. Some good fun times here, some really good conversations. Be back on tomorrow doing the same thing, same time, same place. Hopefully get a short in later tonight if necessary. And with that said, take care and hopefully see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it.